Hello everyone, this is Marshall Fish with another update. This is going to be a short and quick update of the Russo-Ukrainian war. We have less updates than usual, but we still have some very important updates. So let's get straight on into it starting now. Perhaps the biggest news is coming from Zelensky himself, where Zelensky is talking about the fact that Russian forces are planning for a Sumy offensive. They are not just going to stop with retaking Kursk, they're going to keep on going. I said this in my previous videos, that Russian forces may just keep on going right into the Sumy region. They have already captured some ground in the Sumy region already, and they might just keep on going. He says Vladimir Putin is planning a fresh ground invasion of Ukraine. Despite Western pleas for a ceasefire, Vladimir Zelensky has warned. Russian troops are amassing across the border from Ukraine's Sumy region and preparing for a new ground offensive into Ukraine's northeast. Mr. Zelensky said, and any attempt at a new incursion would fly in the face of U.S.-led attempts to have Putin agree to a 30-day truce. I mentioned how Zelensky agreed to the ceasefire, and I mentioned that was a smart move by him because it forced Russia into a position of they have to either say yes or no. And if they say yes, they have to stop their offensive. And if they say no, it could cause Trump to go back to supporting Ukraine. This indicates an intention to attack our Sumy region. Like I said, we are aware of this and will counter it, said the Ukrainian leader. I would like all partners to understand exactly what Putin is planning, what he is preparing for, and what he will be ignoring. The buildup of Russian forces indicates that Moscow intends to keep ignoring diplomacy. It's clear that Russia is prolonging the war. So Russian forces, according to Zelensky, Russian forces are preparing for an offensive into the Sumy region, wrong color, into the Sumy region. And they're going to keep on going from Kursk into Sumy itself, and may even possibly expand to attack the entire Sumy region entirely. We shall see. It may not happen at all. It could just be Zelensky's word. But according to Zelensky, Russia, it also could just be a way for Zelensky to say that Russia does not want to negotiate. He might just be giving that as an example, and it might not actually happen. But it looks like it very much so could happen. Some other news here: Ukraine's powerful new long Neptune missile with 620-mile range successfully used in combat with accurate strike. So here's a video of that right here. So that was the video of Ukraine using their brand new missile. This is the Ukrainian-made missile. That is an important fact. This missile is Ukrainian-made, not given to them. So that is important. Here's a picture of the missile being used. Here's what the missile looks like, and here's an aftermath of what the missile caused. So you can see it's a pretty powerful missile, and it is capable of accurate strikes. So this is a powerful Ukrainian weapon. Again, here's the video that we just saw. The nautical cruise missile has already been used successfully in combat, and after a number of positive tests, Zelensky announced the missile with a post on X saying the long Neptune missile was tested and successfully used in combat, a new Ukraine missile with precise strike, the range of 1,000 kilometers. I thank our Ukrainian developers, manufacturers, and military personnel. We continue our work to ensure the security of Ukraine. So this is Zelensky saying this. Its 621 range now puts Russia's capital of Moscow within its reach. That's important. Ukraine might use this missile against Russia or against Moscow. Zelensky has yet to reveal where any tests took place, as rumors started to emerge over it had already been used on the battlefield. We just saw that. Ukrainian Telegram channel Excelnova Plus claimed a dramatic strike on the Tuapse oil refinery on Friday may have been caused by the formidable Neptune. So this video, supposedly, not totally confirmed, but supposedly is showing the use of that Ukrainian weapon. So this is Ukraine's brand new missile. So lastly, we have here, Putin will sooner or later have to come to the table. Again, Keir Starmer has said that Vladimir Putin will sooner or later have to come to the table. The Prime Minister continued, my feeling is that sooner or later, Mr. Putin is going to have to come to the table and engage in serious discussions. But, and this is a big but, for us this morning in our meeting, we can't sit back and simply wait for that to happen. We will have to keep pushing ahead, pushing forward, and preparing for peace, and a peace that will be secure and that will last. I think that means strengthening Ukraine so they can defend themselves, and strengthening obviously in terms of military capability, in terms of funding, and in terms of provision of further support from all of us to Ukraine. Sir Keir Starmer is saying that their goal is to force Putin to a point where he has to negotiate. So we have a lot of news coming from the Ukraine perspective today. In fact, I think all the major news today came from Ukraine's perspective. But this is pretty much just saying that they're supporting Ukraine so they can force Putin to come to the table. So he can't just never come to the table to negotiate. He will at some point have to come to the table and negotiate a peace deal. And I said in a previous video that the war, if Putin really wants to win this war, this is true for both sides, but right now Russia is winning. So if Putin wants to win this war, like truly win, I mean like winning the war as in like taking most of Ukraine, if not all of Ukraine. If he wants to actually do that, at some point the war cannot just continue on like this. At some point, a major offensive a major knockout offensive will have to take place that can defeat the Ukrainian army, gain a huge amount of ground, and push the Ukrainian forces back significantly, like back over the Dnieper, like first like that, back over the Dnipro, something major like that. Because this attrition style warfare that's been happening for the last 3 years now is just not it's not enough. It's not going to give Russia the win. They might possibly be able to force Ukraine to give up these 4 regions plus Crimea, but it's not going to be a total win in the war. If he wants a peace, if he wants to get a peace that is totally on his terms, he gets major concessions of Ukraine. He gets to take like half of Ukraine or possibly even all of Ukraine. At some point, a major offensive is going to happen that will defeat the Ukrainian army and take huge amounts of ground. At some point, it's going to happen. And if he's not able to do that, then yes, at some point, Putin will have to negotiate. He might get a peace that's very favorable towards him, but not everything. That is a very true statement. Now let's go to the battlefield updates. We only have a few of them, so let's start up here in Kursk. We do have once again have a decent sized Russian gain up here. Ukraine forces are losing their last bits of ground here in Kursk. Russian forces have now pushed into the town of Gogolivka. This is their second to last town on the northern pocket here in Kursk. The other one is Oleshnia. Russian forces were able to capture a big chunk of ground here, mostly centering around this long tree line and the road along the R200 highway. And the Russian forces also made a small little gain here in the Sumy region as well, east of Novenki. They captured these 2 roads right here in this open fields, nothing major. Russian forces also made a gain here and captured this part of the forested area here to the south. Just about, not fully, but almost pushing Ukrainians out of the Kursk region entirely in this area. They still control this little area right here. This area is still under Ukraine control in this western part of the forested area. This is still part of the Kursk region, and it is still under Ukrainian control. Russian forces also began attacking. They have not been confirmed to have gained any ground. Russian forces began attacking here and putting pressure on Guevo. And there is now a large gray zone where the Ukrainian forces have now lost control over part of the town. We have no confirmed Russian gains here, but the Ukrainian forces have begun to fall back from Guevo towards the town of Gornal. And it is once again another day where Russian forces are very close to pushing Ukrainian forces out of Kursk entirely. This is just at this point they're just fighting the Ukrainian rear guard at this point. Our second and only other change on the front line is coming from this direction, the Ivanivka direction. Russian forces managed to capture the ground that was between these 2 bulges right here, capturing these 1, 2, 3 forested areas, plus this one right here, so 4. Russian forces also made a small gain and captured the forested area to the west of the Zerbrats River right here. Russian forces on this part of the front line are continuing to try and mop up the Ukrainian ground in the Luhansk region. Pushing here and pushing right here to try and just capture the last of the Luhansk, which is right here. Small gains, but important nonetheless. Nowhere else on the front line do we have any other changes. The only other thing worth noting about is that although we have no changes from the Pokrovsk front, reportedly there was a lot of activity from the Russian side on this part of the front line. Russian forces began massively bombarding the area around the Pokrovsk front, indicating Russian forces might be about to restart their operations on this part of the front line. There was a lot of TOS strikes. There was a lot of bombardment. Russian forces were very active. There was a lot of drone strikes. So Russian forces suddenly became very active on this part of the front line, as if they were preparing to restart their offensive. So nothing has happened yet besides the bombardment, but we shall see if Russian forces do restart their offensive on this part of the front line. But that's going to be it for this entire update. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, and the like button. Make sure you like and leave a comment. I will see you guys next time. Bye.